Ain't nobody's running, ain't nobody's hiding, nobody's ducking. I mean, Crawford's going to be right there, ready to trade blows with Canelo Alvarez. Why did you use that word war? Why are you feeling that way?
If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford.
Crawford could see everything coming. He could see everything coming that Canelo threw at him. He was reading it so well. His guard was so tight as well when he was up at the ropes, when he was exiting, looking to move around.
They looked about the same size, but that was a brilliant performance. And what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that.
Stephen A. Smith gave an intense reaction to Canelo Alvarez's loss to Terence Crawford, saying Crawford had chased this fight for years to cement his legacy. He argued that Crawford finally proved himself on the sport's biggest stage, taking Canelo's spotlight and establishing himself as the champion. Smith stressed that this wasn't just another win. It was a true defining moment in Crawford's career.
Division world champion out of Omaha, Nebraska. He's undefeated, 41-0 with 31 KOs, and he begged for this fight. He wanted Canelo bad because to him, it's all about legacy. I'm not speculating. I'm telling you what I know. And how would I know? It's because I interviewed him. Yesterday, we sat down. Here is my conversation with the one and only Terence Crawford challenging Saul Canelo Alvarez, moving up 2 weight divisions to do it.
Max Kellerman echoed the sentiment that Terence Crawford's win over Canelo Alvarez was both historic and career-defining. He broke down the loss by framing it like a fighter daring to move up multiple weight classes and facing a dangerous opponent capable of dragging them into a real dogfight for the first time. Kellerman pointed out that only fighters with true self-belief take on challenges like that without fearing size, speed, or power. He stressed that Crawford carried that fearless mindset and reminded viewers that for years no one openly called out Bud. In Kellerman's view, this fight cemented Crawford's standing as one of the sport's most respected and proven champions.
Giving up having to jump up 2 more weight classes and fight a guy who might put him in a dogfight, a real one, for the first time in his career.
When we get put in that position, we go find opposition to make that happen. You understand me? So when we go looking for the opposition, we're not concerned about how big they are, how fast they are, how strong they are. We feel like we got enough that we can bring to the table with anybody. That night I fought John Ruiz, I didn't care who was over there. Whoever they brought out that locker room was gonna get it. You understand me? That's just what it was. And I think Bud kind of has that feeling. Now, Bud, you gotta remember, has been around for a long time. Nobody called him out. You understand me? All the time Floyd came at the boxing, Floyd never said, I want Bud Crawford.
No one ever said his name.
Hey, all I know is one thing, Israel Mazrimov, he didn't get it, he barely lost.
Yeah, but I was just saying, but nobody called his name.
Shakur Stevenson's admiration for Terence Crawford has always been clear, but after Crawford's emphatic win over Canelo Alvarez, his praise carried even more weight. Stevenson said Crawford not only fulfilled every promise he made before the fight, but also showed exactly why he's so highly regarded. He admitted that from the earliest days of his own career, he studied Crawford's style, mentality, and discipline. And watching his idol achieve such a historic feat confirmed for him that greatness is built on years of preparation and consistency. For Stevenson, Crawford is more than a champion. He's a mentor figure and the standard of excellence younger fighters aim to reach.
On Cook Canelo, he said he was going to outbox him. He did exactly what I called years ago, and tonight he proved that he's the greatest boxer that ever lived.
In the interview with Dimwat, you said you felt like going on a run watching that tonight. How much inspiration can you take from someone like Terence?
I take everything from him. I've been around him since I was a kid, and just watching that greatness.
Stephen A. Smith reflected on Terence Crawford's determination heading into the Canelo fight, noting how Crawford could have asked the superstar to come down in weight, but instead chose to meet him at 168 pounds on his own turf. For Crawford, Smith said, the challenge was never about comfort or convenience, it was about legacy. He reminded viewers that Canelo remains one of boxing's elite champions with titles across multiple divisions, and that Crawford's decision to pursue the fight at Canelo's natural weight showed a fearless drive to claim greatness on the sport's toughest stage.
41-0, Molly, with 31 knockouts. He's taken on all comers. I asked him, you're moving up in weight Why would you not try to get Canelo to come down from 168 to 160 to meet you halfway, since his last fight was Crawford's last fight was at 154? Crawford said, I want what he has. I want to go take it. I don't want to make, I don't want him making concessions and alterations. I'm coming to take what he has. And you look at him and no one believes that he can't pull it off. He can box, he can punch, he's smart, he's elite, and he wants Canelo. He begged Canelo for this fight.
Aid Oladipo underscored the dramatic shift in public perception around Terence Crawford, noting how critics once dismissed him as too small, too old, and out of his depth against a powerhouse like Canelo Alvarez. Yet after the fight, many of those same skeptics quickly praised him. Aid highlighted that Crawford earned every bit of that respect by taking the toughest road possible, moving up from smaller divisions to challenge a dominant champion at a higher weight. By decisively beating Canelo, Crawford proved he's defined not by size or age, but by skill, risk-taking, and relentless determination.
Crawford did it again a few hours ago against Canelo. And what makes it even special, or more special, for Crawford is that he did it jumping up, as we know, a couple of weight classes. He did it against one of an all-time or another fellow all-time great, and he did it against someone who was undisputed and still a pound-for-pound top 10 guy. That's what Crawford did, people. So, all those things people were saying in the lead up to this fight, Canelo's going to be too strong, Canelo's too experienced, Crawford's going to be 38, all that. You have to remember all of that when you give Crawford his flowers. Now, don't like, oh, well, Canelo looks old. No. I don't want to hear any of that. I've started to see a few people on Twitter start to kind of sort of find excuses already. No. Remember everything you said, because Crawford deserves all of that. All of that. Crawford was incredible. Honestly, in the pocket, he was at times showing Canelo, no, I'm stronger than you. I'm going to bully you. Oh, you think you're going to get me in the clinch because you're Mr. 168? No, look at the size of me. I'm jacked as well. I'm swole. And he was moving Canelo around. So by doing that, he got his respect. He didn't switch to orthodox once, stayed in the southpaw stance because he realized early, oh, Canelo don't like this. Canelo does not like this southpaw stance. Canelo's tripping over himself. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to switch it. No, I like this work. I'm going to stay here. On the ropes, it's like, okay, come in, because when you come in, I've got that as well, and I can hurt you as well. Spinning off the ropes. His jab was fantastic. They put up the jab numbers. He was out jabbing Canelo like, it was almost like 10-1, maybe even 20-1. It was fantastic, and when he needed to land those power shots, he was landing those power shots. It was an incredible performance.
The Wade concept analyst dismantled the idea that Canelo's loss was simply the result of a fading champion. He emphasized that Crawford is actually older than Canelo, removing age as an excuse for Alvarez's defeat. Canelo also held clear advantages in weight, power, and experience at the division, yet Crawford still beat him decisively. WDE argued this wasn't about Canelo being past his prime, but about Crawford elevating himself to a completely different level. By stripping away the excuses, he underscored that Crawford's victory was authentic, legitimate, and truly historic.
More tight, more fundamentally sound. While Canelo, even when he was able to get to range, which wasn't a lot, it wasn't often, he was having a hard time landing clean because everything was super wide and out here and to the body out there. And Crawford would either circle out to that same side, to Canelo's lead hand side. He would circle away because Canelo would step straight to Crawford and chase him and not necessarily cut him off. And even when he threw that hook, I was looking for the hook from Canelo right hand as he stepped through, right? Corral with the lead hand, bang the right hand, because you're fighting a southpaw. So yeah, your jab may not be as effective in landing and managing distance and all those things, even though for Terence it kind of was. For Canelo, I was expecting a lot more of that right hand down the middle and over the top, and him jabbing his way, feint jab right hand, and then that lead hook that I thought he would be able to corral Crawford, because Crawford did want to move away from Canelo. He did. He wanted to move away from that power hand. Smart to do. Canelo never took that extra step to step outside of Crawford's lead foot. Again, that orthodox southpaw matchup, it's always going to be a battle of that lead foot. He never took that next step to get outside of that lead foot and then step through Crawford, step to his left where Crawford was going and land his right hand. He just felt like he was falling off to his right with his right hand, and once he fell off to his right after he threw the right hand, there was no follow-ups because he was off balance, and Crawford was out the gate and circling back to reset the action. This was a masterful display from Terence Crawford. And again, I looked at this fight, and I don't want to do the thing where I said, oh, Canelo's washed, he's over the top, he's old. Terence Crawford's older than Canelo. Is he as weathered as far as fights are concerned? No. But you can only do one thing when talking about this fight, and that is give credit to Terence Crawford. If you want to say Canelo looked old, that's fine. That's on you. I'm not going to say.
Carl Froch, the former world champion, broke down how Crawford made a critical tactical shift in the middle rounds. Froch explained that by the 6th and 7th rounds, Crawford understood he had to press forward and assert greater control over the fight. His jab became the key weapon, disrupting Canelo's rhythm and pushing him onto the back foot. Froch praised Crawford's ring IQ and timing, noting how he adjusted at precisely the right moment. Instead of allowing the fight to drift, Crawford seized the momentum and imposed himself more aggressively, turning the bout decisively in his favor.
Nation punches on the back foot, sort of dictating the pace. And then after about round 6 or 7, Canelo Alvarez knew, 1 second. I need a little freshener. Canelo knew he had to step on the gas. He knew he had to put the fight on its front foot and take it to Terence Crawford and start to try and catch him and bang him on. And when he headbutted Crawford, I thought that could be the start of it. A little bit of a nut, get that down. Yeah, I don't know if there was a cut, but the referee stopped and had a look, and I thought now Canelo's going to step on the gas. And he did that. He stepped on the gas, he started getting in close, and he started landing a few more shots than he was in the previous rounds, but it wasn't enough. Terence Crawford was able to catch and counter. He was landing a sneaky uppercut from the southpaw stance. He was dominating behind his jab, and then when Canelo stuck it on him, he was dominating up close in the pocket. He was beating him at his own game. Canelo Alvarez must have been fuming in there. He must have thought to himself, what can I do? He couldn't do anything. He needed to pick up the pace, put the pressure on, and sustain the attacks. And I don't want to take anything away from Terence Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez couldn't do that. He couldn't do it for long enough. Crawford looked like he could have done 20 rounds in there tonight at that pace, the way he was dictating and controlling. And Canelo Alvarez was getting marked up, he was breathing heavy, he was getting tired, he was reaching with shots, and it was getting torn apart. It was an absolute masterclass by Terence Crawford. Canelo tried. Canelo came, he had a go, but to be honest, I don't want to rain on the parade of Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez, for me, is well past his best now. He's seen better days. He hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got the fitness to sustain the attack. Afterwards in the interview, he said, I felt great, it's great, I feel good. And don't forget, Crawford's a couple of years older. So I think it's the miles on the clock. Canelo Alvarez had like 67 fights. I know Crawford's had a fair few fights, but he's about 20 fights behind him. So the miles on the clock have caught up with Canelo Alvarez. He's feeling the pace, he's feeling the age.
Another boxing analyst framed Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez as a genuine masterclass in ring intelligence. He described Crawford's performance as near genius, highlighting how Bud appeared to anticipate almost every punch Canelo threw. Instead of reacting late, Crawford had clearly studied Canelo's habits and lined up counters before the shots even came. This foresight kept him a step ahead from start to finish, forcing Canelo into limited, predictable offense. The analyst emphasized that even elite fighters often freeze under Canelo's pressure and heavy combinations, but Crawford dismantled them with calm precision. His win was built not on brute force, but on preparation, ring IQ, and disciplined execution. Every defensive move flowed smoothly into offense, keeping Canelo off balance and unable to reset. According to the analyst, this wasn't luck or a fluke. It was the culmination of years of experience and meticulous planning, proving Crawford to be one of boxing's greatest tacticians.
Constantly throwing the lead left hook to try and cut this off. And when he did get his foot to the outside, that was an option. But over time, Crawford, as he always does, as the genius boxer that he is and is able to do, starts to find those counter punches. And there was 2 counters in particular that I noted during the fight that I felt were absolutely key for Crawford. The first was the counter off that left hook to the body. Now, Canelo did land these sometimes. That left hook he throws, the lead left hook, is quite unpredictable. But he started to land it quite effectively to the body from time to time. But what Crawford was doing was he was catching it with his elbow, and then he'd throw the straight left hand back at Canelo as a counter shot. He'd throw multiple shots. And what I really loved about his counter work was he'd never throw more than singles or twos or threes. He never got carried away. He never did too much with Canelo. Don't get me wrong though, Canelo was still defensively very astute in this fight, but he simply didn't have the foot speed to get to Crawford. He couldn't do it. And he didn't want to use his own jab because I believe Crawford's lead hand is so effective that southpaw stance really meant he could dominate the fight with his own own lead hand. Canelo's not a massive jabber himself, but now that he was fighting someone closer to his size, I thought he might try and implement a jab, but he didn't because Crawford's counters were just too fast and too good. There was a couple of moments in this fight, and I said in my prediction I thought that you'd see Crawford in moments looking absolutely electric and just outclassing Canelo, looking too fast and lighting him up, and we saw that. I'll never forget the beginning of round 9 where he actually stood in the pocket with Canelo and he just rolled with the shots and he was throwing counters. It was absolutely brilliant. But the second counter that he used that was really effective was he'd allowed Canelo to throw that single right hand, that straight right hand, that backhand for Canelo, make him miss and come back with his own straight left hand over the top. I also thought that Crawford stabbing to the body was very good. He'd throw straight shots to the body, and that was something I predicted from the Lara fight that he would be able to do. That was also where I got the idea with the exits that I felt would be useful, and the reason we knew they'd be useful and important was because of Saunders just not really dealing with them too well.
Dan Rafael offered an insightful take on how the fight was viewed beforehand. He noted that many fans and pundits dismissed the idea of Crawford defeating Canelo, but Crawford himself never saw it as impossible. According to Rafael, Crawford didn't view Canelo as a much bigger fighter. He saw them as equals, and that mindset showed in the ring. By refusing to be intimidated or influenced by public doubt, Crawford carried his self-belief into fight night and delivered a performance that shocked the world. Rafael stressed that this unshakable confidence was a key factor separating Crawford from countless others who might have folded under the same circumstances.
Rounds where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, and what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. But he showed his greatness.
He spoke about looking to back up Canelo in the fight, as you mentioned there, before it took place. How much of a surprise was it, though, just to see how comfortable he felt doing so?
I think it took him a little while to figure out that, you know what, he doesn't hit as hard as some people were saying, and that I can get in and out, and I'm going to be able to stalk him and walk him down a little bit. And he had Canelo extremely frustrated. And so I guess I was a little surprised he was able to do it, especially in those last couple of rounds. But he definitely was the guy that was going forward and back in. I mean, I've been watching Canelo for his entire career as a known fighter. This is my 24th Canelo Alvarez fight in person. I can't say that against anybody, including big punchers like Triple G and Kovalev and people like that saw him get forced back. That's not normal for a fight with Canelo Alvarez.
Dan, given your time covering Canelo Alvarez and those defeats that he's had in his career, but Bivol tonight amongst other kind of contentious decisions, how much is this one going to hurt? Because there's always been those question marks for the last few years. Is he on the decline? Now there's going to be more question marks. Is this the end of the road for Canelo, certainly at the elite level?
I mean, listen, and this is not a disrespect to Canelo, because everybody who has ever read me, followed me, listened to me knows I love Canelo. I think he's one of the greats of all time. I think you can make a really good argument.
Crawford's longtime trainer, Brian Bo-Mac McIntyre, wrapped up the conversation with an emotional reflection on his fighter's legacy. He said he's always believed Terence Crawford was the greatest of all time, and that this victory simply confirmed it for the rest of the world. Bo-Mac stressed that while Crawford has earned a well-deserved break after such a grueling journey, retirement isn't on the table yet. Instead, Crawford will rest, recover, and then decide his next move. For Bo-Mac, the moment is about more than a win. It's about the world finally recognizing the greatness he's witnessed for years in the gym, a vindication of the hard work and sacrifice they've both endured.
Mac, you've been training Crawford for years. Do you think, okay, is he the greatest of all time? Because now people are putting him in the conversation of greatest of all time.
You know that.
You think so?
You know I know.
Okay, what's next for him? You've been training for years. What's next for him? The fans want to know. What's next for him?
Break. Take a break.
Is he retired or is he going to keep fighting?
He just got to take a break.
How are you celebrating? Listen, congratulations to you. Listen, congratulations to you. How are you celebrating?
Just go and have dinner with my wife, man.
Okay, well, are you trainer of the year?
Well, I'll let the critics worry about that.
Last question. Is Terence Crawford retired or is he going to keep fighting?
Oh, he's going to keep fighting.
He's going to keep fighting?
Yeah.
You're the man. Be man. Hey, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates coming soon.